Welcome to tonight's OWASP meetup. I'm Tad Whitaker from Circle CI and OWASP. Did everybody understand, the first thing I want to say, did everybody understand the name tag mentioned in here?
Actually, somewhat.
So, I'm wearing a blue one, which means that my company is hiring. The green ones mean
networking.
Here to network, and the red ones mean that you're looking for a job.
Oh no!
I thought that was super cool. I can't believe I've never been to a conference
That's a great idea.
that didn't do that.
That's good.
Yeah. So pay attention.
Not looking for a job.
I'm hiring.
Get my slides back.
Nice.
All right. We have a code of conduct here. Please don't be a jerk. Treat everybody with respect. Ask nice questions. You will be asked to leave. We've not had that happen here, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of asking somebody to leave. I just will. And please, if you do feel like somebody has been disrespectful or in some way a problem, let me know. I don't have a problem with you just coming up. We'll just deal with it right away. The upcoming calendar, raise your hands if you know what day of security is. Raise your hand if you know what day of security is. Okay, cool. For those of you who don't know what day of security is, it's a 200-person security conference that OWASP is one of the chief sponsors of, and it's aimed at bringing more women and people who identify as women into InfoSec. And so we had our first one last June. We had 200 people. The CISO of Yahoo was there and spoke. It was dynamite. And we have another one that is going to be in Boston in about 3 weeks. The next two are going to be in San Francisco this summer, and we're also going to have a South Bay one at some point this year. We're looking for volunteers of any type. If you want to teach a technical class, if you want to be a panelist, if you know somebody who wants to be a panelist, if you just want to help at the door, anything like that, visit Day of Security and do the contact us, or you can reach out to me. The next SF meetup that we're having is at Slack on Wednesday, March 20th. They're doing, I know Slack's talk is about scrubbing image uploads. Apparently that was a major problem for them at some point, and they've got some kind of cool tool that they want to talk about. The next one in the South Bay is going to be in March at a company called The Real Real. We don't have a date yet on that, but that's kind of where it's going to be.
So are all of the Bay Area meetups under the Bay Area OWASP? So the South Bay and it's not two separate meetup groups?
No, they're both under the same meetup group.
Cool.
Yeah. Here's how you can find us on all the social media places. Pretty standard. Here's our schedule tonight. We've got kind of a packed one. I let us start about 15 minutes late because people were still kind of trickling in. We ordinarily start these at 7. We started at 6 because we had so many people who wanted to speak. So kind of expecting more people to kind of trickle in. And these are some of our sponsors. I want to make sure that I definitely get them in front of everybody because they're the ones who pay for OWASP to host events. We're going to be hosting something at B-Sides, and they're the ones who help us actually kick in cash for things like data security and stuff like that. So there's one more here. Yes, you had another question.
So on a previous slide it said Hacker Thursday. So I've seen meetups for Hacker Thursday and not on Thursday.
Yes.
I was wondering what it is and
sure.
Just explain that.
So his question was, what are Hacker Thursdays and how do those differ from these meetups? First off, Hacker Thursdays are getting renamed because they kept falling on not Thursdays. So we're trying to figure out a different name for it. But the difference is these regular meetups tend to be talks where the audience sits there and listens for maybe 20 minutes, kind of asks some questions, that kind of things. But it's definitely, nobody has their laptop out right now, which is kind of the point, right? Just kind of have something to drink, eat, kind of meet some people, and hear some good stuff. The idea with Hacker Thursday is to have one speaker and bring your laptop and get on the Wi-Fi, and you're actually going to learn something. And it might be, like the first one I went to was around secure coding. You know, like it was this company came in and they demoed this product that they have that shows you how to actually do secure code reviews. So you've got all this stuff, it was gamified, but so that's kind of the difference. One speaker, very technical and hands-on. So, but soon to be rebranded. Tonight's host, in between coming from work and here, I had my permission changed on the slide. I'm not really sure why, but I'm going to let Insight Engines come up and take over.
Sure. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Sergio. I'm part of Insight Engine, so pleasure to meet everyone. These events are pretty awesome, so we actually look forward to doing more of these with you. On tonight's agenda, as you can see, we have several speakers, but to kick it off tonight, we're going to have our CEO, Grant Wernick, talk a little bit about natural language processing. And I think all of you have heard about it or heard about AI, machine learning, and really all these tools, but there's a lot of hype. And we all know where the hype has been met with expectations and everybody not really understanding what is the capacity of natural language processing. So Grant, being an expert in this, is going to break it down for everyone and let you understand from an engineering side what you're capable of doing and what you're not capable of doing in today's world. Obviously, as we progress through time, capabilities are going to keep increasing, but I'm gonna let Grant present right now. So with that said, this is Grant Wernick, CEO of Insight Engines.
Thanks for having me, guys. Should I get on the microphone? Can you hear me? Or should I do microphone? Okay? All right, awesome. I figure I don't need to use the microphone. So I really wanted to talk to you guys because I'm inventing a bunch of new products in the next 2 years, and a lot of these products will change the way you guys function in your every single day job. A little background on me. I built natural language search engines for over a decade, and I love it, and I've done really hard, interesting things around that. And over the last couple of years, natural language has become kind of a big buzzword. How many people know what NLP is? How many people have done some development around NLP? Not that many yet. And how many people know the difference between NLP and machine learning are? Good, all right. NLP and machine learning are a little different. The big difference is machine learning, you have large data sets and you can do a lot of things with those. Natural language is actually half dark art, a little bit of machine learning. It still requires a lot of algorithms and still requires humans in the loop. A lot of people will come at you and say like, hey, I got this natural language engine, or hey, you can do this really cool thing with your data. What they're forgetting is, hey, it needs a supervised or semi-supervised model. Hey, what they're forgetting is you actually need humans in the loop. And so what I'm going to go through tonight is something really interesting. I've done this talk in different forms, different places. One of the most interesting places I've done this talk, which is probably very similar to you guys, is at the NSA. How many of you guys have worked at the NSA or worked with the NSA at some point in your life? Or the Israeli security? So go ahead and get these slides. I don't use slides very often. I don't really like using slides. They work really. Oh, this is my tablet now. So this is the world we live in today. The world's changed.
You want a clicker?
What? No, it's okay. This is I just came from another meeting and my laptop happened not to have the right slides on it, so it's okay. So this is the world we all live in, and how many people are drowning in data and like, hey, I wish I didn't have so much coming at me all the time. Anybody? Only a few of us? How many people have at least a terabyte of data that they have to petabyte? Anybody? Yeah, a lot of data, And so this is the world we live in today. It's all over the place. Some of this is in HDFS. Some of this is over in Splunk. Some of this isn't elastic. Who here uses the HDFS?
Use the elastic.
You love it? Who here uses elastic?
Love hate.
Elastic, alright. Who here uses Splunk? Okay, we got a few hands. Who here does some sort of awesome database of their own? Alright, a few people. So data's everywhere. There's very few people that actually understand how to write the kind of queries that are esoteric queries in many ways to get to this data that's inside these data silos. This room has some of the very few people in the world that can really do this. And so kind of appreciate the fact there aren't that many people that can write this kind of stuff. And you guys also have some of the most intelligent questions that come out of it. Everybody's telling you AI is going to take over and AI is going to do everything for you. Has AI done anything for you guys lately? No?
Tell me the
I
cloud.
used Siri this morning.
Oh, nice. You want to set your alarm clock?
Yeah.
Turn on the lights.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the state of things. That's a static rule. If this, then that. Okay, it says turn on lights, great. But turn on the lights and turn them up to 50%, bet you that won't work. So that's basically the state of the natural language right now.
Preemptive to that.
Google's works with that.
You will soon be having Alexa call out farts to your kids.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I just had a second child, and this is like the first time I've come out of hiding in like 2 weeks. So it does you multiple
Yes,
steps. Sorry, I'm going to go the other way. And so the rise of the digital assistant, you've been talking about this, right? And how many people in this room have an Alexa? How many people in this room have Siri? How many people in this room use these products? What do you guys use them for?
Timers.
Anybody else besides
Set my Spotify playlist.
All right.
Turning lights to 50%.
Oh, nice. You must have created some custom lexicon around that? Your own language? Anybody else use them for anything else right now?
Shopping list.
Shopping list, yeah. So,
I played 20 questions once.
you did? Was it a good time?
No.
No. So a lot of people are giving you a lot of hype that this thing can do a lot of things. And we're very lucky that we're actually in the infancy that companies like us can come out and exist. So what we're doing is we're actually bringing the capabilities of asking questions of your data to the enterprise, to data. And this is something that's never existed before. And so what we do, anybody who's anywhere near what we do, is basically the research institutions. Anybody here work at UC Berkeley? You research, you go to Berkeley? They do some really cool natural language stuff. Awesome place. Anybody Stanford? No? MIT? Any of the Israeli schools? Nobody? There we go. Lots of cool natural language coming out of a lot of those Israeli schools. So, yeah, and so see, a lot of this stuff's still done in research institutions. And so everybody looks at the enterprise and they're like, well, what can we actually do with data? Because today, our world looks something like this. You see this in front of me? So this is vulnerable systems with failed updates. Anybody work with compliance queries? Anybody do anything around compliance in your life? Yes. So you always want to find vulnerable systems with failed updates. Well, in Elastic or in Splunk or wherever you keep your data, you'll write something like this, and it'll take a skilled person like Mike. I'm just going to embarrass you for 1 second, Mike. It's going to take a skilled person like Mike quite a while to write something like this.
What's SPL?
So SPL is a Splunk query language. It's a proprietary language for Splunk. Anybody in here can write it? Anybody? So that's good. Really unique. Yeah. So it takes a lot of effort. And picture if all you had to do was say this, and it literally generated that code for you in real time. That's what we do. We've been doing it now for 3+ years. And now I have realized, wait, we actually are able to do really interesting things that take people outside of this realm of setting an alarm clock. They take outside of the realm of, hey, I want to play 20 questions. So why don't we continue expanding this stuff? And to expand this stuff, natural language engines, to rewind 2 slides, they need to understand parts of speech. They need to understand how people talk. And they need to be able to pull apart sentences. Most of what you guys have seen out there, you guys talked about Siri, you guys talked about Alexa and other things, are pretty much static rules. If they say this exact sentence, it's going to do exactly this. But to do these really complex things, when the database language is nothing like the human language, you literally have to parse the phrase and understand everything in real time. So for those of us who are developers in here, how many people in here are developers? A lot of developers. Picture if you actually have something that's a real-time compiler. That's really what you have to do. It's not exactly a search engine. It's no longer looking for keywords. And so what I want to spend some time doing with you guys tonight is I don't want to talk that much. I think I've talked almost enough. So who's familiar with this list? You guys see these questions on the right? These are questions that you could ask of your data that would definitely work to be able to put together all of this. So picture for injections, you could say how many critical vulnerabilities were found by hosts today. You literally do that, and in real time, you get dashboards, and those dashboards then become your saved searches. Or you go down using components of known vulnerabilities, Postits high severity vulnerabilities this week. You can literally do this stuff now. And so I want to spend the next 20 minutes doing with you guys, is I want you guys to start dreaming, and dreaming about what you've always wanted to ask of data. Because today, we don't live in a world where you ask questions of data. We live in a world where well, I want this outcome, or I want this dashboard. But what if you could seriously just ask these questions and literally produce that dashboard in seconds? And so today I come at you in a really fun setting to do something I've done in quite a few places. What I call the Post-it drill. It's actually super fun. It's where you're I spend most of my day trying to solve really creative, interesting problems. I don't want to have to go spend my time creating a bunch of alerts around host by alerts and vulnerabilities. I want to spend my time doing much more interesting things than that. And these are the things that machines can do for you. So what I'm going to do now is actually really fun. I'm going to have a few people pass around Post-its, and we're going to dream up a few questions, and we're going to think about what we actually want to ask of data. In the next 3 years, you're going to see that this will be the norm. It's no longer going to be the norm to have to go write esoteric query languages and be technician anymore. It's going to be the norm to have to be the creative thinkers that are in this group. And so, in front of you see Post-its. These are questions people asked in other sessions like this. This was a group in Washington, D.C. that composed of some banks, some secret agencies, and some other government agencies in a similar meetup setting. And these are some of the questions that they came up with. And so the average person comes up with about 5 questions per person. The person who gets the most may win a prize. And get really detailed with these questions as these pens and these Post-its come around. Picture you really have an assistant next to you. You really have somebody who wants to help you. And think about the things you ask every day, or the things you wish you could ask. And start thinking about this in terms of application security. Or start thinking about it in terms of network security. Or we're increasingly going to a world of cloud and hybrid clouds. So think about that. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the Post-its. I'm going to have people grab them up. We're going to kind of post them up. And we're going to talk about your questions and how those will actually be asked by machines in the coming years and how this is actually going to become possible. So does everybody have Post-its and paper?
If you don't, let me know.
This whole side doesn't have any?
Okay.
And Jitters has lots of questions. So does mine.
Anybody?
So does Neil. So does David. It's kind of cool, guys. A little different.
Here you go.
It's really fun. Trust me, this is exciting.
Yeah.
We're actually building the future right now.
Anybody else?
So write your 5 questions, 1 question per Post-it, put your initials on the lower right-hand corner, and then just tell me when you have your questions, and Lindsay or Sergio or I will come pick them up.
We'll give it
About 5 minutes.
okay, 5 minutes, and then just a little side note here, we are giving away a pair of beats. So if you want to sign up for the raffle, just go over there, and Mark, if you don't want us to contact you as well. So
We're actually building that right now.
That's literally what I've been spending a week pair programming on. Really awesome.
I mean, yeah, 1 button go create a year. Yeah, that's something I'm actually working on. That's really fun. I'm really excited about creating a future that doesn't exist right now and pushing the boundaries of possible. So that's why talking to people who want to do the same things is so excited.
So will I just have a microphone like this now?
So I actually have made voice examples of this, but it's not that cool because who wants to hear everybody talking to their computers? And so we usually leave that function off, but yes, we have the capability. A lot of people in our space are saying they can do that, but that doesn't really want to know. And those are one-to-one mappings, static mappings that somebody sent. If you say exactly this phrase, then it's exactly this. So, wow, that's really cool. So for those of you guys who are just joining us, you with the headphones, looking really excited in the backpack. What's up, man? How are you? So, hey, how are you? So we're in the middle of doing what's called the query drill, and you come up with the questions you'd like to ask your data. Think of malware data, network traffic data, think of application data. What would you actually like, if you could ask questions to your data, what would that be? And here, you go ahead and post it. Ask me questions if you guys don't totally rock every piece of it. Pretty simple though for a crowd like this, I'm sure. Right, Harold? Oh, good. Harold's excited. Neil, that's actually a really good question. I definitely know that's actually possible. IoT is becoming a really big deal. One of my advisors is former CSO of Honeywell, and he loves talking about, like, people don't understand how microcontrollers are out.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And now with the ones like the ESP32 and the ESP8266 that have built-in Wi-Fi, it's like you can put them anywhere. And they're so tiny, and they can run because they have sleep mode, like on a battery for days and days and days. You know.
No.
Yeah.
Don't even know where.
Yeah.
Can I pass that?
Oh, nice.
You guys are done, you can pass them over.
I hope it's in the context.
Yeah, it is. So anybody just walk in? Anybody want to participate who just walked in? I can give you a quick tutorial. For those who just walked in, make sure you eat pizza while it's hot. For those of you guys who just finished your questions, get more pizza while it's hot.
What can't you ask?
That's what we're going to do right now. What can't you ask?
Can you not ask on the phone? What can you?
I mean, you could ask a question like, am I vulnerable? That's like 15 questions. Scott, can you come up here?
The answer is easy.
Wouldn't that be a reasonable question to say, where is my vulnerability?
Yeah, you can say like, what vulnerabilities do I have on hosts in my Nevada data center? You can say something like that. Or what systems are vulnerable to X?
So you don't want realistic questions.
You want realistic questions. But I like funny questions too. Do you have funny ones? You seem like you have funny ones. Yeah, Scott. You work in query clustering. Let's do some real life query clustering. This is Scott. He's on our engineering team. He does query clustering, natural language machine learning for a living.
You guys have
He works in graph databases, and we're going to create a real life graph database for you right now with Postits. And he didn't know I was going to do this to him.
Did that all over.
That's really good. You know what? What is that thing? What is that little sticky? Oh, it's sticky. All right. Pretty fun. Yeah. Thank you. This is really
thing with machine learning, always more data. It's good.
It's not, sorry, not Russia.
Oh, I like a lot of this.
This is really interesting. How many servers have not been used for any purpose lately? Talk about saving some money. Yeah. Talk about saving some money. I love that question. Yeah, partially down. Yeah.
There's a spot over here.
Did she ask you a question? Yeah, this is kind of sounds like thank you so much. You know, this is something that's new that people start trying to ask, blockchain related questions. Like, this is something I know I can't do today, but people start throwing it, no, we're not.
Can it do contextual stuff, like ask about previous questions?
So we're talking about dialogue, like using something as a reference for dialogue. That is something that I would love to build. It's actually much harder than people think.
Google's been doing it for a while.
Not how you think.
Yeah, but like I can still say what was that, like whatever. Like I ask about one thing and then I can refer to it that, and it will know about the answer to the previous question, and then.
So yes, that we can actually do.
It does.
That's what you mean. But using a prior question, saying, hey, in this last question, I asked this data set, and then I want to use, in that question, I want to actually use that data set. They don't do that yet.
No.
Nobody does.
Yeah. Just some basic stuff though.
What?
Like, yeah, like I meant like anything basic, like just the word that working.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But when you said like using the data set from it, maybe you get that. Maybe I did something cool. Yeah. Did you write these?
A couple.
Maybe
I'm just trying to like give bad input that would like throw it off or something.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So I don't have much time left. So I'm just going to do a few questions already here. Which websites have the most failed login attempts? Like here you have a subject of websites, you have failed logins, and you have attempts. For application security, something like this is multiple data sources, and it's definitely very doable, and this is the kind of stuff that already works today. There's an interesting question here. Which users have attempted actions above their privilege level? This happens every single day. The data exists. One of the biggest problems with this kind of question is that most people haven't indexed the right data to be able to ask this question. But if you index the right kind of data, I can tell you natural language engine can handle it. How many servers have sudden spikes in outbound traffic or outbound DNS traffic? You always had this recent DNS attack. For any of you guys, like, do you guys have to work on that? Anybody in this room have to work on it? Some of my customers had to work on it, and they had to work some sleepless nights on it. It's really scary what happened, right? So we do a lot of work with the US government. And this kind of anomaly, you would, the way you'd ask this with a natural language engine, because everybody's saying machine learning can solve this kind of stuff, you would use a larger date range and a smaller date range. So you'd say, how many servers have more traffic today than they have for the last 30 days? And so that way the engine can now create a baseline for you, and it can compare that, and you can use your human eyes to compare that baseline with today. So asking a system to do this, now you're asking a lot of machine learning to happen in the background for something that just recently just happened. So you guys follow me on this? And so when you're talking to a natural language engine, think about it as the most literal human you ever talk to. Now, when things happen like this a lot, you can see creating background algorithms that are actually growing and doing things and augmenting in real time. Somebody asked a really funny question. Have any blockchain transactions occurred involving my cryptocurrency credentials? This is repeatedly a question. Not enough people are ingesting this kind of data yet, except for a handful of blockchain companies. So, yes, I think this is totally possible. It's easily parsable. And as this becomes more normal, I bet you stuff like this will work now. You had an interesting question, Jitters. Jitter. You had an interesting question, Jitters. Where was it? Did you mark yours with your name? Oh, here it is.
Right, yeah, too.
Okay. What users need to update their laptops beyond 180D of being out of date? Totally. Updates and that kind of stuff. That stuff already works now. I really want to go into this so much more with you guys. I've read so many good questions. Just so many questions. They see that stuff actually. This is where the future is going. Any big questions for me?
What's the meaning of life?
42.
You ruined it for
As you have it on your shirt, Chris. Any big questions for me? Because this takes more time than we had tonight. Yes.
Can it introspect on its own data, like graph all natural language queries by their processing time? Like,
that's literally what his job is.
Like, can it do that? Like, if you had the right permissions, like, you could just ask it. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
What do you do?
Huh?
You have some good ideas.
I just hack things.
Oh, you do? You have some good ideas. Yeah.
Can you try to explain how it works?
Yeah, and so what it is, it's a real-time, what we do is a real-time natural language compiler. It's very difficult, and you have to train it for given domains. And so people have been trying to solve natural language as a general purpose for many years. They're trying to use machine learning, deep learning to be able to do it this way. It's not really going to work, is it? Like, think about something like SRC. What does SRC mean to people in this room? Source. Exactly. What does SRC mean to somebody on the marketing team? Something totally different. So you have to learn the vocabulary of a given domain. So I talk a lot of the time, think about a natural language engine like a child. It has to learn the domain. And once it's learned something about that domain, now it can apply that to many more questions. And so it never maps one-to-one with queries. Our engine, it actually is constantly learning concepts. And so it's pulling apart parts of phrases, and it's pulling apart how the words interact with each other. If you want to see a live demo of it, I'm sure the team has a copy of it you can see after the meetup tonight. I mean, yeah, I can see it on your laptops upstairs. So, yeah, we can totally give you a demo. You can see how it works. Yeah.
How is it implemented? Is it implemented in Julia or Python or?
So the product's 100% Python. We chose our first integration with Splunk. I'm really trying not to do product pitch, because I really was curious, but this is what I want to dig into. In the coming years, you're going to see us integrate with everything. You were just, Jitters, you were talking web infrastructure or, cloud infrastructure, totally. Yes.
So could you use this in a Jupyter Notebook?
Ah, Jupyter Notebooks. Well, we use them internally, but yeah, how would you like to use it in a Jupyter Notebook?
I mean, just be able to type a natural language query into a Jupyter Notebook, it would then come back.
That's great. So we were like, so you'd rather have that even more than Slack?
I mean, that would be sort of an additional thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great, that sounds like a great idea. That's a really good idea. Tad, I could go for hours, but there's other people to talk to.
A couple more questions, and then we can do next.
Please.
So, from Git commit messages, can you predict when an OpenCPE is fixed?
So that is something we're starting to do because we do something really cool. We have a large customer base, and we create a product where the data is all on-prem, so we're going to do a lot more public service. So something we've started to do is releasing this query newsletter. It comes out every week. It's free. So I'm not charging for it. If you guys want to be on it, you should be on it. It basically tells you what questions to ask based on things that we see, which is really interesting. And so we've created kind of a shared network. Data stays on-prem, concepts come to the cloud, and that way you can constantly learn. So yeah. So if you're interested in that, just drop your email to anybody on our team, and we'll add you to the newsletter.
What about situations where your company has multiple
continuous data warehouses, and you're trying to pull data from all of them at once to get this one sheet, with something would you guys be able to like have it able to go through all the different data warehouses, whip you out a nice data set or whatever you're
Yes.
that's like an ETL nightmare.
It's an ETL nightmare.
It's literally.
And right now you're like, right now you're adding all your sets, you're adding all your setter matches. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to like.
Or your set to host.
Yeah, like tons of connectors, build on to get pull from different ones and then stitch together. Like I have to do that to stitch.
Oh, it's a nightmare now. Yes. Are these mostly virtual data centers? Or are these all like on-prem data centers that you guys own?
No, this is more for like we have cloud, we have second site internal, and then we have to upload up to one.
So some AWS, some Microsoft.
Yeah, some Microsoft, even like more business oriented stuff like CRMs.
I can see Guru smiling in the back. So.
And they upload the CRMs.
Yeah.
The CRMs are also.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So doing something with CRM would be really interesting. I'd love to talk to you more about
I'm more of a business, less security, but I also work on these.
I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
You can see people that want to get with something.
Wow. Like I want to make sure that we get through all of our, like we have 3 more speakers, but Brandon company rented the space tonight, so they're definitely hosting it, and I'd like to go through all our speakers, but then seriously we can stay as long as people are interested in talking to them, or you guys can do a demo, kind of whatever at the end.
Yeah.
Keep coming up with questions. This is actually one of the more unique talks I've ever heard, and more interactive ones. And so I think everybody's kind of got a good idea now about what he's looking for. So keep thinking of questions, and then stay afterward to do more. So thank you.
Thank you.